Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Welcome to Livingston, where we invite local businesses, people, and organizations in to talk about what they are giving to our community. My name is Don Patella.
And I'm Angela Patella, and we're with the Patella Group Real Estate Professionals. As realtors and brokerage owners, we bring valuable insight into the local market and community every week.
Thanks for listening, and welcome to Livingston. Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of our podcast. This is the Welcome to Livingston podcast. My name is Don Patella.
And I'm Angela Patella, and we're with the Patella Group Real Estate Professionals.
Yes, so today's episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast is brought to you by our valued sponsor, Jim Paquette with Lake Michigan Credit Union. He is a trusted mortgage lender who has lived and worked in our community for many years. Jim Paquette is dedicated to helping our neighbors achieve their home ownership dreams and is proud to support the local businesses that make our area special. And we are just so happy to be working with Jim.
Yes, Jim is just outstanding. He is Johnny on the spot. He is beyond helpful and knowledgeable, and he's really the guy.
I do, and I just love that he's local and he's involved in the community, and he always has such a positive outlook.
Yes, exactly. So he fits right into our episode today.
Yes, so for today's episode, those of you that are listening often know that we have local businesses that we have come in and we talk to them about what they're doing in the community, what they offer to the community, and just what they bring. Right.
Sometimes events, sometimes causes. We have a lot of great different things about this community that we love.
Right. And sometimes we take a step back and we talk about real estate, but sometimes we hit on some other topics, right?
Yeah.
And today is one of those days.
Yes, exactly.
So we are really excited today because what we wanted to talk about today is we wanted to talk about positivity and, how to be positive in what sometimes you can consider, I don't want to say a negative world, but positivity when you have things pushing in you from the outside.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it feels like just the demands of everyday life and even just all the noise everywhere that, in terms of trying to be more positive and, sound things out and,
Well, very true, because I think a lot of people don't understand how much your outlook and how much positivity affects the rest of your life. Right. That it starts at this core point that if you can have that internal positivity, it can become external, but it affects your daily activity and those around you.
Huge part of happiness, right? Because if somebody's just really negative, then how are they supposed to find happiness? Right. So it's kind of a first step.
Or bring happiness to others.
Yes.
Right.
I like that. That's a good point.
So I know you spent some time doing some notes on this.
I made the notes.
You did make the notes. So I'm going to kind of let you lead today and see where it goes.
Cool. I'm in the driver's seat. I love it.
Yes.
And it's funny because we talked about, this will be our topic. It'll be great. And then we had appointments and things going on today. And so we didn't really meet back. And Don's like, wow, that wasn't really the direction I was thinking. So I guess I'm the one driving the bus here. But I want to touch on a couple different things. I'm the note taker of the bunch for sure. But when it comes to positivity, and I just feel like, a lot of people have been talking about just, negative stuff out there and how important it is to stay positive and all that. So in terms of your health, that is such an important reason to be positive. And part of being able to be positive, right? So what factors do you think in someone's health?
I think that health is a big source of positivity. And I think if you're not a healthy person, if you're starting to get healthy, that can breed a lot of positivity. I think that little things such as your diet and such can make a big impact. One of the things is here in the United States, and it was interesting because I heard them while we were dropping our daughter off at school this morning. I heard them talking a little bit about it on the radio this morning, not in the aspect of positivity, but in the aspect of the American diet, right?
Yeah.
And how much of the American diet is processed foods and fatty foods and heavy meals, right?
Right.
And how a lot of those things, you don't think that they may affect you in terms of your outlook, in terms of your energy, but it really does, because your energy is such a central point to your positivity and what you can push out on the world. And that the fuel for that energy comes from a couple of different things that we're talking about, but one of them is your diet.
Yeah.
And your diet can have a big impact on your positivity. You know, if you're eating crap foods all the time or you're overeating.
Right. Then you're feeling like, ugh, like how are you supposed to take on the world? How are you supposed to have energy if you're just like, oh my gosh. You
Right.
know?
So, I mean, I think having a balanced diet is important. I think not overeating is important, but I think also being able to find joy in foods that you like,
Right.
but not abusing foods you like, if that makes sense.
So finding a balance. So you
Right.
don't have to be like, hey, especially, I mean, traditionally we are not super health food kind of people.
No, we're not.
But
We're
starting
trying
somewhere,
to be.
Trying to be. But starting somewhere, you know, doing something.
Eating healthy food isn't easy. It's expensive, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's always opportunities to eat better and to have, you know, one of the things I like to think about is your positive outlook reaches all these different areas of your life and everything. So if you go into your diet and your grocery shopping with that same positive outlook, odds are you're going to come out of the store with better things to eat.
Right.
That help you long term. So it's like, you know, it's like a snowball, you know, it builds up steam and it helps itself out.
Well, and I think if, like I said, you don't have to be, you know, boy, I am super healthy, right? But if you try to make some healthier decisions one day after the next, just do better than you did yesterday, right? In terms of the race that you're not running that race against anybody else but yourself. But if you did better than yesterday, then you're doing good. And if you didn't, then try again tomorrow.
Right. Drink more water.
Yeah, that's a good start too. So within that, I mean, there's exercise, there's sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I think both those things are good things to talk about. We'll jump to exercise second, sleep. I think getting a good amount of hours sleep every night is good. Me and you both have our Apple Watches that we're using to monitor our sleep.
Yeah.
Lets us know how many times at night we're waking up, how long we're in REM, deep core sleep, that sort of thing. Are we hitting our goals? One of the things I've noticed is it keeps track of my resting heart rate or my sleeping heart rate. And since I've been exercising a lot more, that sleeping heart rate is at a better score than it was before. So you can see the positive
so there's
momentum.
Resources out there, in terms of that can monitor some of those things.
Right.
Really
One of the things.
More information.
More information. Don't have your iPhone right next to your head. With that, grab it all the time and everything.
Well,
Keep it across the room helps.
Yeah, in terms of the light in the middle of the night to check your phone, can really do a doozy on sleep too.
Yes. So exercise real quick. Exercise is hugely important to positive outlook. I try to get to the gym as often as possible and post things about it and such. But I think we're taking a walk every day.
Yeah.
That is a good thing.
That's the thing. You might not have a gym membership. You may not have gym equipment. Maybe you do. Maybe now's the time to dust it off. And if you've got it in the house, why not use it? But if nothing else, just get those feet a walking, right? Walk down to the end of the driveway to get the mail. Start there. Take a walk around the block. Something.
Exactly.
It's a nice day, just make sure that you're getting out to get some of that sunshine that I'll mention later.
100%, and like you said, add a little bit every day. It doesn't have to be much. If today it's down to the end of the driveway and tomorrow it's to the mailbox, which is 2 doors down, and a few days after that, it's down to the end of the block and back, those things build on themselves because no matter where you're at, you can make positive steps in the right direction. And what you'll notice is that it will breed positivity because that's what we're talking about. But in my mind, positivity really has to do with mindset. It has to do with outlook. So it's going to breed a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're doing the right things. Don, I've heard recently about movement breaks. And sometimes as people are either working from home or in the office, just to make sure to get up and move around, even if it's just for 5 minutes.
No, and that's a really good point. That's another one of the things our watches do. So these smart watches are amazing.
Everybody has those.
No, not everyone, but a lot of people have like the Fitbits or the other things that are easy to get. But yeah, I mean, setting an alarm, getting up for a couple minutes, especially if you have a sedentary job and such.
Right. You get
But
lost
like
into
if I'm
things.
somewhere, my watch will say time to stand.
Yeah. Every
Like,
hour.
Every hour. Let's get up for a couple minutes. Let's do something, right? Because movement helps,
Yes.
right? It gets your
Blood flowing.
synapses
Yeah.
flowing again, right?
Well, and it sort of breaks kind of the, that focus to be able to allow you to reset.
It does. And it can break the stress, right? Which is are we talking about stress next?
Yes, we were talking about how to reduce stress because you can't be as positive as you want to be if you're under a lot of stress.
Well, and there's, one of the things that brought this up is there is a lot of stress in the world right now, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stress in
unfortunately.
people's lives, and there's a lot of negativity out there, whether it be shows that you're watching on TV, things that you're reading, anything else. There's just a lot of negativity that in the world can push in on yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Burn you out.
Burn you out, be it all the activities that you have to have, your job, whatever it is, right?
Finances.
So self-care is really important. A lot of those things, self-care is just taking the time to take a step back and relax and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You're moving so much. There's so many things. I talk to people all the time that like, they don't know where they're headed, right?
Yeah.
I like to make the joke that being an adult or being a parent, all it really is moving from one crisis to the next, right? So when you get done with the crisis that you have right this minute, you have this thought that you're like, oh, well, when I get through this, it's going to be okay. And I'm going to take a time to step back, right? But the second it's over, you're like, okay, now I have this crisis in front of me that to make it to the next one, right?
Exactly.
So we're always one-upping our stress.
Yeah. Whatever fire's burning the brightest.
Right. So
like, oh my gosh, no wonder.
Having social outlets.
Yeah, that does help, right? Our friendships, whether it's a friend you see in person, maybe you're too busy to, so it's the phone calls, even a quick text, those social outlets really alleviate stress, and they're an important part of our lives.
Yep.
Something else that's also very important is faith and the power of prayer, right? There's a lot of different religions. Some people have moved away from their own religion, but somebody's faith is something that's very personal. So
right.
having
Very
that
much so.
as a resource.
Or even if
important.
it's someone that's walked away from it, someone's spirituality, even if it's just nature or it's going out and taking a walk or it's taking self-reflection time or it's yoga.
Meditation. How often are we by ourselves with our own thoughts? Maybe on that walk, right?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Some people more than others. Some people, the problem is they're by themselves too often.
Yeah.
And that's where
true,
those
too.
friendships come in handy, right?
Yeah. So it's sort of the balance.
it's a balance with anybody. I see you have on the list pets.
Yes. Pets are so important. That's why in our schools, it's become a big thing of having therapy dogs in the school. Because honest to goodness, if you are having a lousy day, if the world is crushing in on you and you have that dog or you have that cat or some other pet, that animal really offers the companionship and affection that really kind of breaks that chain.
Well, if you look at the excitement, our dog Roxy, if we've been gone for a few hours, it's like the greatest 10 seconds of her entire life is when we walk through the front door.
Yeah.
And it just, you can't not have a smile on your face.
Right.
Right? And it's funny to think about that. It's, I listen to a lot of Tony Robbins. And those of you that don't know who Tony Robbins is out there, I would hope that you would know, but he's a motivational speaker guru. He does retreats and such that we've been to a couple of them.
Yeah.
He's just an amazing person in terms of positivity. But he was talking on one of them that I was listening to. He was talking about a study that was done at, I believe it was Stanford back in the 60s or the 70s. And they brought in people that have clinical depression. And all they did was they had to stare into a mirror for 10 minutes a day and smile. That's all it was. And just the act of having to smile took their depression away. And I thought of that when we were talking about, you can't help but smile when your pet comes to you and so on.
Yeah.
It's those unabashed moments of joy that just latch onto that for a second.
Yeah.
Realize how unique and special that is.
Because life gets so busy. It's
Right.
like, oh, gotta feed the dog, gotta keep going, right? But take a moment with that pet because the love that they give you really gives back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're there for you.
Yeah. So those were some things for reducing stress. But I had some ideas of specific strategies, but without looking. What strategies?
Well,
Can you
see,
think of
I've
off the top of your
looked
head?
at a lot of the list here. I've been looking down at it. You have some good things on the list, but I will go off the top of my head. Things for reducing strategy. Obviously, I think movement is a really good one. I think exercise is good. I think back to when I was a kid or a teenager. When I was a teenager, if I was really stressed out, I went and I played basketball. Not knowing that reset my mood, right?
Right.
Or I would go out and I would take a drive in my car and I'd play my music really loud, right?
Yeah.
So it's those things of doing an activity that separates you a little bit from your internal thoughts that are potentially bringing you down, right? What you're really looking for is you're looking for a clean reset.
Yeah.
Right? You're looking to break a pattern because we all have patterns in our life, right? And when we get into a bad mood, we have patterns that help us stay in that mood or help us push that mood down, right? So we were talking on the way over here, and I won't be specific for types of music, but we all know we have certain artists that we listen to when we're in a really good mood, and we have certain artists that we listen to when we're in a really bad mood.
Music is powerful.
Right? And it may be because it triggers certain instances in our life that were really positive or really negative, but we go back to that pattern. Oh, I'm in a really bad mood, so I'm going to listen to the music that I listen to when I'm in a bad mood. And surprise, surprise, it keeps me in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Right? Why not listen to that music that puts me in a good mood right at that moment to
feel right.
to break that pattern?
And it's okay to be down, right? Sometimes we're like, oh, you can't be down. You can't be depressed. You can't be. No, you can, because there's ups and there's downs, and it's okay to be down. But you gotta end up bringing yourself back up after a short period of time here. Like just,
Right.
give yourself that day. Give yourself.
Well, I don't think you give yourself that day. You know,
but that time, that moment.
that
right?
moment, right?
It's okay to be down, but you gotta get back up.
Right. Well, and one of the things is another person, Mel Robbins, actually. Mel Robbins says that let yourself feel it for 30 seconds. Let yourself feel it for a minute. And then say, okay, well, what am I going to do about that? Not that you're not ignoring that feeling, and you're not saying that feeling is important, and you're not saying that I'm not going to experience that, but you're going to say, I'm not going to dwell on that. Now, what can I do to alleviate that? Or what is my plan moving forward?
Right. Exactly.
To not stop.
To work on it. To
Right.
be constantly in motion.
Constantly in motion. So I think those were the two things off the top of my head. I'm not going to look at the list. So what else do you got here?
Yeah. So for me, I had a pretty robust list when it came to specific strategies of trying to get positive or stay positive or whatnot. Social media is something that has worked both for myself and for
To stay away from
people I know to stay away from
Okay.
it.
So
yeah.
not to go into social media.
No, not necessarily. Yeah. And even just shut the TV off. Sometimes just the noise of all of that. Honest to goodness, focus on you in the here and now. Spring cleaning, organizing, getting your personal environment in a place that isn't stressful. Like, no wonder you're stressed out, right? No wonder you can't stay positive if everything's a disaster. Take those moments, get everything cleaned up, and feel that calmness wash over you, and just, whew, right? That helps. Sunshine, fresh air, go for that walk, even if it's a little break for 5 minutes from your work, right? Laughter, watch more comedy. So shut off the news, put on the comedy. Making jokes with your friends, back to the social outlets. Retail therapy is something.
As long as you can afford it.
Yeah, as long as you can afford it. If you can't, take $1 or $2 at the dollar store and buy something you wouldn't otherwise. sometimes that really perks yourself up and it makes a big difference. If you do have the funds for it, sometimes, especially even if you've been gaining weight, you don't like how you look, go ahead and buy a new shirt or something. You know,
Right.
I know it's not the size you want, but if you can feel good in what you wear, because honestly, what you wear makes a difference. If you have stuff that's your favorite to put on, what better way to make it a positive day?
Right. Well, and I think it's interesting because all of those things you mentioned are all, again, about breaking a cycle.
Yes.
They're
that's
all
true.
about changing. You know, sometimes the biggest thing you can do is if you're down is change your surroundings, right? However, you know, the interesting thing is these specific strategies, understand that all those things, it's not I'm in a bad mood, so now I need to do these things. It's have these things in your life so that you don't go into a bad mood, right?
Right. It helps you keep up that positivity.
Right. You
To
know,
stay positive.
you know, one of the books that I've read is called The Compound Effect. And The Compound Effect is an amazing book. I can't remember the author right now, but if you go out there and you Google it or go onto Amazon, you can find it. The Compound Effect is amazing because it talks about the little things that add up over the course of time that either impact you positively or negatively, right? So positively, you know, I'm eating salads. I'm eating a little bit fresher. I'm having a few less calories a day, or I'm reading a couple pages of a book a day, right? Over the course of 2-3 days, 2-3 weeks, a month, it's not going to make an impact, right? But 6 months later, 9 months later, a year later, you see the huge impact that made. On the converse, you know, having a candy bar on the way to work or on your break isn't that big of a deal, right? Every once in a while. But if you're eating a candy bar every day, you know, the compound effect.
Weeks, months, by the end of the year.
So to extrapolate that in your specific strategies, the compound effect makes a really big impact in are you doing things that affect you positively or affect you negatively, right? So if it affects you positively, you're on an upward trajectory, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's affecting you negatively, all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're hugely depressed and you're 40 pounds over your weight and you're like, how the hell did I get here? I wasn't doing anything different. How did this happen?
Yeah.
But you were doing small, tiny little things that led you to where you are because you didn't realize it was an extra ounce of this. And it was instead of taking a walk, I took the car to the mailbox. And instead of, having a little bit of sunshine, I decided to close the shades and, jump on and play my overly aggressive video game that's very violent instead, right?
Yeah.
It's those little things.
Right. It's the choices that you make. I have some more strategies.
Okay,
too.
you can get to them. Sorry.
Doing positive reviews for your favorite businesses. We've had all these great businesses online here. If you like and appreciate them, go onto their website, go onto Google and do some positive reviews, right? It's very pay it forward. Random acts of kindness. Coming from kindness is such an important part of things, but doing nice things for people. I don't know if anyone else has had this experience where someone paid for, your coffee in line or your order or whatnot before you got there and it was taken care of. And it's like, wow, what an amazing feeling. Just those little kind things, right? Tipping somebody a little extra. If you have a haircut or if you are at a restaurant, just any little random acts of kindness because the world needs more kindness, Right.
And it's interesting. Those are great ways to bring, I think a lot of the things you're bringing up are ways to bring more positivity into the world.
Yes.
Rather than making in aspect, it does make your world more positive. I get it. I understand.
It does. Certainly listening to positive podcasts or motivational or those things, that's a lot of positivity. And even taking up a new hobby. When was the last time you took up a new hobby? I'll bet you, if you're anything like me, you've probably given up more hobbies in the last number of years than you've taken up. And it can really be an eye-opener as long as that new hobby isn't video games on your phone, because that can make your significant other a little irate. But other than that,
I think that was a little close to
yeah,
home there.
yeah.
That wasn't me, by the way. That's her.
That's me. That's me.
She has the
for
video
sure.
game
For
on the
sure.
phone
But,
addiction.
Okay, so other than that hobby, that probably was more on the negative side, like your compound effect. But in terms of a positive thing, whether it's, we've already said ad nauseum about going for a walk, but even doing a jigsaw puzzle, reading a book.
I think you're right in terms
things.
of some of these hobbies and such, but I think adding something positive, having a hard reset sometimes is a really good idea. I think having I'm not a person that sits down and makes lists and such. There's people such
like
as my
me.
wife that make lists and such, but taking an inventory of where you're at and saying, what are those things that I want in my life, right? And adding them to your life, and understand we are all extremely busy, right?
Yes.
That being said, we all have the exact same amount of time in every day.
Even a
And
billionaire.
there is
right?
always time if you choose to make the time, right? So if you choose to make the time for the gym, then there's time there for the gym. If you choose to make time to read books, there's time for that. And if it's not something that you're trying to focus on, surprise, surprise, there's absolutely no time for it. But there was a ton of time to watch The Bachelorette. So, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I think they're actually on the Golden Bachelorette right now, but I've
I
never
mean,
watched it.
And there's nothing wrong with those things either. It's about where your priorities are. So
100%.
as long as your priorities match up with where you're spending your time, then that will help your positivity. But if you're chasing fires and spending your time on things that don't matter to you as much, then no wonder you're going to get stressed out and
Because
burned
there's
out.
nothing wrong with a little bit of fluff TV.
Yeah, everybody needs that.
No, it can bring a smile to somebody's face, and everything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
But the one thing that you had here on the end, which is why I joked when I showed you the list, because it's the thing I would have put at the top and we put at the end.
Yeah.
Which is all about mindset.
Mindset. Yes.
I love talking about mindset. You know that.
I think we've done episodes about that. So
Yes.
that's why I kind of put my spin on it on this one.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good. And I like the things you put into mindset because it comes from a different point of view. So I am a firm believer in a positive mindset, that we decide what we're going to bring into the world and what we're going to attract to ourselves, right? And that positivity is a big part of that, because if we have a negative outlook, we're only going to see the negative things in the world. And if we have a positive outlook, we're going to see the positive things in the world. And it comes to back to that idea of when you buy a new car in a new color, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere and you never saw the car before, right?
That's a real phenomenon.
It is a real phenomenon. So it's the same thing, that if you're looking for it, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
And that's where a positive outlook comes from. If you're thinking about positivity and you're looking for positivity, you're going to see opportunities. There's opportunities every day to do the right thing and to be positive and to bring positivity into the world if you choose to be positive. And a lot of that comes from, as you said in here, I like this, you have, yes.
Well, I was waiting for you to take a breath.
Oh, I took a breath. You're up.
No, you didn't. You were talking and talking.
Yes.
No, I wanted to mention, because we often say to our kids, if you want better results, make better choices. So it's so important for people. You can build the life that you want to build, but it starts with the choices that you make.
I agree. I think that is very powerful. I think it is 100% about the choices you make. And it is 100% about what path you choose for yourself.
You need to consciously make those choices.
Yes.
Or they'll be made for you, because even no choice is a choice.
100%. I think that's very good. So, from that, I think you have some good items on here. Did you want to go through a couple of them?
Of course. Of course. When it comes to mindset, to me, gratitude is the most important one at the top there, because when you start with gratitude, how can you be anything but positive, right? Because there's so much to be grateful for. You know, I know sometimes around Thanksgiving, you know, we like to give thanks, but when you put that type of mindset into your life, it can really open up all kinds of things. Part of that is a growth mindset, which I know is important to you, that always to be growing, always to be doing more. And in terms of who you surround yourself with, that really helps. So the fact that we get to hang out together all day, every day, sometimes I feel like we start becoming the same person.
Yep.
But yeah, so what other mindset things do you have?
I think that those things are really good. I think that a mindset, you know, I think mindset really comes from within, right? But surrounding yourself with the right people, surrounding yourself with the right resources, being conscious of that, that whole idea of listening to positive podcasts, reading positive books. You know, one of the things I like to think about is, you know, I look at quotes a lot. I know you have thousands of quotes on your phone, right?
I do. I love quotes.
You love quotes. So one of the things we do is, you know, on our business page, I do Motivational Monday, and I put out a positive quote every Monday on our Facebook page. We also have a secondary page that I've been working on, which is Welcome to Living with the number 2, that we put out a positive quote every single day on. And I think a lot of that is just about having a positive mindset and being able to focus your attention going forward. You know, what good is going to happen today? What good can I bring to the world? And what focus can I give in terms of having a smile on my face, making the right steps forward? I like to think of this attitude of, you know, small steps add up to big leaps, that if you're going in the right direction and you look back 6 months later, you'd be amazed at how far you made it.
Yeah. The journey of 1,000 steps starts with the very first one.
Yep.
It's important in my mind to focus on the here and now, because sometimes people do get caught up in the past or in the future or any of that, of living intentionally in the moment. Something that's powerful and able to allow us to be more positive. And focusing on only what you can control, because if you get caught up in the things that are outside of your control, that's just going to make you feel powerless, and that negativity comes back.
Right. You know, and that's one of the things that's interesting when we talk about positivity in a negative world. And I think it's a really good thing to end on, is looking at the things that you can control, right? I love watching the news, watching national news, reading the newspaper, seeing what's going on in the world and such. But I also know that I have to separate that, in that those are things that I can't control. And while I like historical things and looking at all that kind of stuff, I also know that that doesn't have an impact on who I am or my attitude towards the world. And I think people have to try to remember that, to focus on what you can control and know that there's external forces, right? But since you can't do anything about the external forces, you have to control your little corner of the world. And your little corner of the world is, what am I going to do that can positively impact other people? Because we talk all the time, if you're a person out there that has kids and you have a family and such, we talk about the example that we need to lead for our kids, right?
Right.
And we all know what a good example we have to be for our kids, right?
Yeah.
But do we think about that we're an example to every person that we run into on a daily basis? Right. And we don't know the impact that we make to other people, right? Yeah. So if we can be a positive impact in some trivial thing that we don't even remember, but to somebody else may have been an important seminal moment of their day.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge and realize the fact that, you know, when we lead our lives, other people see that.
They do. And it affects them.
And it affects them, even in a small degree, that can build up, right?
Right.
Like you're holding the door open for someone can be so much more impactful than not holding it and letting it slam in their face, right?
Right, for sure. We've sat here at this table. We have talked to so many people over the years now and asked them, what do you like best about Livingston? And of course, I love that there's so many different answers, but a lot of times people say the people. And I feel like the things that people are doing out there in our community is really adding to it, right?
Right.
And they're representing Livingston County here by being nice, by being friendly, by spreading kindness, by doing all of those things. And if we can continue to be part of that, that just only continues to make our community even better.
No, you are 100% right. I have been amazed over the years, the charity of the people in our communities,
Honestly, yes.
their willingness to give back and their good-hearted nature.
Absolutely. Good neighbors. You know,
Good neighbors.
just so many great people here in this county.
Well, like we talked to these local businesses, right? And one of the things when we were, if you go back to episodes that were happening, just after the pandemic or when Main Street was under construction,
right?
They would talk about the fact of how amazing it was for the local people to be supporting these businesses when they knew that they needed it most. So they were coming in and they were buying gift cards and they were going out of their way to support these businesses because it was important, right?
Right.
But on the flip side of that, I see all the time things on Facebook where someone's in need and the amount of giving that's out there.
Absolutely. Like that's what our community is. That's what Livingston County is. It's beautiful. And that's where we can find some of that positivity because it's there.
Right.
Listen through the noise.
Right. I completely understand that a lot of people think there's too many car washes in the area, but let's look at the positive aspect. You're only ever so far away from a car wash to make sure that your car's clean.
Right. This is true.
Right.
I'll tell you, there was a Mexican restaurant. I was talking to them, trying to get them on. And they were so sweet and they were so nice, but they were very Eeyore because they're like, no, everybody hates us because we're a Mexican restaurant. So next time you're posting that on Facebook, know that there's people at those businesses and that could be kind of hurtful to them. Like
right.
That's the message that they're getting is too many car washes, too many Mexican restaurants.
Right.
There's people behind those businesses. And
there's people working at those businesses that's their job and their livelihood. And, just because you think there's too many Mexican restaurants for someone else, that's their favorite Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
Right. And what a great thing to have variety out there and to be able to go to different places for food and such. And maybe I like the food at this place and then I like this dish at another place. And it's again, when we go out in the community and we go to the different restaurants and such, I love running into people in the community.
Yeah.
But I love that I have a restaurant to walk into and go to have lunch or to have dinner.
Right. Not all communities have that. There's some communities that don't even have any Mexican restaurants, right? We should feel blessed that we have so many.
Yes.
You get choices.
You do. And your car can always be clean.
Yes.
So try to look at the
bright side.
Let's look at the bright side of the positivity of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's it. Like you said, the perspective and the mindset of it's really how you look at it, right? Because your thoughts become your actions. So make sure that your thoughts are where you want them to be.
Right.
Start a personal journal. That's a great
100%
idea too.
Again, we all have our patterns and we jump into our patterns. And why would we get a different end result when we're jumping in and we're doing A, B, C, D? Surprisingly, we ended up at the same place. So break that pattern and do something different, and have a smile on your face. I was walking into Meijer the other day and I said hi to someone walking in and they got a smile on their face just because I said hi.
It brightened up, right?
It brightened up. So
yeah, or even sometimes just smiling at somebody, meeting eye contact, right? Makes a difference because you don't know what someone else is going through. Everybody else's burdens are so much harder than our own. And we get lost in our own lives and we forget that.
Again, to go back to that study that Tony did, try it, okay? Our brain cannot tell the difference. If you're in a bad mood and you force yourself to put a smile on your face, you will get into a better mood. It's impossible to stay in a bad mood while you're smiling. It can't happen. So try it out.
Yeah. There you go.
Bring some positivity into the world.
Yeah. When patterns are broken, new worlds can emerge.
I love it.
Good stuff, huh?
So yeah, guys, anything I missed? I think we're wrapping up here.
Yeah, I think so. This was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we tried to give some specific ideas. And let's bring more positivity into the world because, boy, I just feel like it really needs it.
100%. So please check out our website, welcometolivingston.com. Check out our Facebook page. If you're looking for those daily quotes, go to Welcome to Living. Look over there and you can get a daily quote every day and a couple words from us. So thank you guys so much for listening today.
Yeah, thanks so much. Welcome to Livingston.